Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council for Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. I have a meeting announcement. Council members are encouraging virtual public participation as there is limited seating in council chambers due to the number of COVID infections in our area. I think we'll have to review that because it seems like they're going down. All meetings will be live streamed on the city website, and the City Channel Pittsburgh YouTube channel. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess. Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Kraus. Mr. Lavelle. Mr. O'Connor.
Here.
Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Kell Smith, President.
Here.
5 members present.
Thank you. As we join from our remote locations, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. And I ask in the moment of silence that you keep the wife of former Chief of Operations, Dwayne Ashley, in your thoughts, and our current employee, Dwayne Ashley, in your thoughts in prison. She passed away this week. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and our next order of business is proclamations. I'm sorry, our next order of business is to amend the agenda. I'm sorry, there are new sunshine rules. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any discussion? Okay. Agenda's amended. And our next order of business is proclamations to be presented. We have one from Councilwoman Deb Gross. Councilwoman,
Yeah.
and just so you know, I went. Please, you want to come up? Yeah, I just want to say I went to school with Mike.
Sit there, because everyone with Mike Nichols proclamation and Mike Nichols Day, please come on up. Really nice to see everybody in person. Yeah. We're very happy to be here today with Mr. Nichols and everyone who's been doing so much good work in the city. And again, it's really nice to see everybody in person. Thank you all for coming down. We are commending today Mike Nichols on 30 years of service to the city of Pittsburgh and its residents. Whereas the city of Pittsburgh commemorates the service provided by individuals who take time out of their daily lives to enrich children's imaginations and learning skills. And whereas Mike Nichols, lifetime resident of the city of Pittsburgh, has been volunteering to read to children across the city, devoting invaluable service to Pittsburgh public schools and encouraging literacy among our youth. And whereas Nichols has been reading to children for 30 years, first volunteering to read at Pittsburgh Arsenal in 1992, along with being heavily involved with guest reader programs used to bring members of the community into various Pittsburgh public schools and to read to children, and has probably twisted many of our arms to come and read to the children as well.
Right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nichols. And in addition to reading to the children, Mr. Nichols also serves his community by being a member of the Take a Father to School Day Planning Committee, along with transporting children to City Hall for various performances and to gain knowledge on city government. And whereas Nichols was a 1979 Pittsburgh Shenley graduate who continues to exhibit exceptional qualities of a role model to our children, serving Pittsburgh families with compassion, devotion, and great passion. Whereas Nichols has persevered through the loss of his son, conquering cancer, and recovering from COVID-19, remaining devoted to reading to children, thus showing his unwavering devotion to the city of Pittsburgh. And whereas Mike was employed by the city of Pittsburgh in the Department of Public Works, serving almost 30 years. Whereas Mike is an esteemed model for community engagement, service, and compassion to Pittsburgh Public Schools, the Department of Public Works, and many neighborhoods throughout the city. And whereas Mike has dedicated his life to the city of Pittsburgh through prosperous times and times of challenge, impacting the education and imaginations of children throughout the city in immeasurable ways. And now therefore be it resolved, the Council of the City of Pittsburgh recognizes Mike Nichols for his astounding service in a multitude of ways to the city of Pittsburgh. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, February 15th, 2022 to be Mike Nichols Day in the city of Pittsburgh. Madam Clerk?
I'm sorry. Do we have a motion, a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations,
Okay.
Mike.
Thank you.
Wanted to make sure
We
made
went to
it
school together. He knows I'm always late.
official. We also have, I think, Jake Pollock, there you are, from the mayor's office, who's got a proclamation. Mr. Pollock, would you like to come up? Do you mind?
No, I
Come
don't
on. Have you all met before?
care. No,
Jake
we
Pollock?
haven't.
And hold the speaker in there.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gross, Council President Cal Smith, everyone else. Our proclamation is substantially similar to the one that the councilman just read. So I'll just add on behalf of the mayor, his congratulations and gratitude to Mike for his years of service, both to the city and to the children of the city as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, 30 years is a long time, but I'd like to focus on one thing. I hope in the summertime we can open up the library for the summer readers program. I think that's very important. And a couple of things, this is Black History Month, but it shouldn't just be February. It should be every day in the Pittsburgh Public Schools. It should be every day in the Pittsburgh Public Schools, not just February. And my thing is this, the programs that need to be implemented is the Summer Readers Program, the Sickle Cell Foundation, that's another, and Junior Achievement. That's very important to the kids of the city of Pittsburgh. Online is cool, but it's not, they're not interacting with each other. They're not doing it. And I think the library should be open now for the Summer Readers Program to get the kids off the streets. Get them off the streets. And that's the only way you're gonna do it. The Summer Readers Program is very effective because it helped kids to read better or to get ready for school. So I'm urging everybody to make sure that the libraries are open this summer for the Summer Readers Program. Encourage the board of directors, encourage the state to please open up the library for the summer for the kids. It doesn't make any sense to go online. They need to be in the libraries reading right now. And I also want to thank Beechwood, Martin Luther King, Phillips, Lincoln, and Westwood for let me into the schools, even though I was Zoomed a couple times, but to let me read to their children. And I want to thank those schools for doing it. And hopefully, when this pandemic over, I could bring the kids down and let them see what city government is all about. So thank you all for this proclamation, and God bless all y'all. And I'll tell you one thing, I will see you soon. Thank you.
You come to the mic so they can hear, people can hear you at home.
The staff and students at Westwood School would like to present Mr. Mike with some of our favorite books he likes to read with us. We have a thank you plaque that says, Pittsburgh Westwood appreciates Mr. Mike Nichols for sharing your love of reading with us, and some gift cards for you to enjoy.
thank you.
I had to get Westwood on the mic.
Well, thank you for everything, Mr. Mike. Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gross, anyone else? Councilwoman.
Good morning, council members. My name is Mark Brentley, former school board member, served 16 years, where we started the national nationally recognized Take a Father to School program. Mike has been a part of that program each and every year. He has also been a part of the steering committee. Early on, we used to have door prizes, and Mike used to go door to businesses throughout this city. And every meeting, he would come back with a basket. Hey, this company said this, Giant Eagle gave you this, so-and-so give this. You can, and the energy level was just unbelievable. So when I got the call that said Mike was being recognized, I was not difficult at all to do. His energy levels just unbelievable, and he helped us to promote the importance of reading throughout the Pittsburgh Public Schools. They refer to him as Mr. Mike, and the most thing you can visually remember about him is the smile. Congratulations, Mike, and we're happy. And of course, he'll be here in April when we kick off our Take a Father to School Day program again. So thank you for recognizing him, and we thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman, we don't have the mic, they have to come to the mic.
Oh, you know what? We have so many illustrious leaders of the community here, and we usually have this portable mic, so we have you identify yourselves. But if we would love for you just to be in the record that you're here, if you wouldn't mind stepping over to the mic and telling us maybe how you know Mike and who are you here?
Hi, good morning. Nina Sacco. I'm an assistant superintendent in Pittsburgh Public Schools. When I was principal at Westwood, Mr. Mike would come and read to the students, and he has been just a wonderful inspiration to the students, the staff, the families, and I'm so happy to share in this celebration of him. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sacco.
Good morning, Council. Good morning, Council.
Morning.
Making sure somebody's listening. I'm Melvin Hubbard Eel, and I've had the pleasure of being with Mr. Mike for over about 16, 17 years, those 30 years that he's been doing his reading, and also being at his side to Take Your Father to School Day. Congratulations, Brother Mike. I know we brought you up to the state for your 25th anniversary. I'm very pleased and happy to be here on your 30th anniversary here in City Council and the Mayor's office. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Mike, for, reading to our kids for the 30 years. I've been with Mike for about 16 years with Take Your Father to School Committee and the Head Start program. And I like to thank him because he helped my kids, get off to a good start about reading and whatnot and, staying with the program. And Mike, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning, Jay Gilmer. I'm a dad. I live in Lincoln, Leamington. I've been an active reader, so I want to thank Mike, thank Mel for all their organizing and all their dedication.
Morning to everyone. First of all, I want to say congratulations to Mr. Nichols and his achievement. My name is Joseph Eel. I'm an avid reader, have loved books all my life, and so was honored to be a participant in the program where we would go to schools and read to various children. It's been a great pleasure and a joy for me. Thank you.
I'm Mark Rodriguez of the South Side, a publisher, coach, volunteer. Thanks for leading the way for us, Mike.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mike, for all your work. Congratulations.
Nina, how are you? Good to see you again. Oh, did you? What did you say?
Did you remind them about the bra?
Thank you.
No, how are you?
Talk about retiring this year is just too much.
Do God's work, man. You do God's work.
And our next order of business is public comment. And I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before city council. Threats and profanity would not be permitted. And I do want to remind people that we have the rules of council that that we're supposed to be following. And some of that is that public comment should be limited to matters of that council will be taking up or deliberating. And so we'll start enforcing that, but I think we're going to offer some kind of training so the public knows. I'll work with Madam Clerk on that. May we have the first registered speaker, and the first registered speaker that I have is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller. Dr. Miller.
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, Bells Hoover, Carson City, Nevada, Accra, Ghana, Global Intelligence Society, U.S. National Candidate 2024, Global Intelligence Society.org. February is African Intelligence Month. Concern of council is public safety. PS, district by district, PSGIS, weakness, info, intel, foci vis-a-vis Africa. District 1, Councilor Wilson, PS, sports, gambling, entertainment, SGE, weakness, PNC Park, Heinz Field and casinos, nakedness, strong up using info intel from #1 African SGE leader, Lagos, Nigeria, Nollywood, Public Riga Coffee moves, District 2, Councilor Keel Smith, PS, Tel Wi-Fi Internet Com Week, foci Comcast Hub, and the Pit Mesh Net vulnerabilities, which I think are absurdities, make info intel stronger via a #1 African public Parloui connectivity, Port Louis, Mauritius, Wi-Fi Part 2. Pittsburgh has no unified, simple to use citizen connectivity matrix, compromising PS. I and the GIS recommend that the Department of Innovation send someone to every adult in the city of Pittsburgh and telling that person that the city will provide you with citywide Wi-Fi, web, and a PC, no charge. District 3, Councilor Kraus, PS, weakness in East Carson's version of a Great American Main Street. That is an overvaped, variety less, violence uplink to Station Square. Info intel strong up using a #1 Great African Main, Tahrir, Talat, Squares, variety more, Public Salama, violence down, Talat Harb Street in Cairo, Egypt. Pittsburgh District 4, Councilor Coghill, PS, weakness in its ag market subsidy, open air susceptibility to biochem pollution, strengthen PS via info intel from Monrovia, Liberia, #1 African agriculture and market engine. And Mr. Lavelle, District 6, there's a weakness, downtown finance, corporate BNY Gates, UPMC towers, drone targets, use the financial leader, #1 African info intel from Casablanca in Morocco.
Our next speaker is Christina Howe. Christina Howe. Christina
Hello.
Howe,
Yep. Sorry. Yes. Thank you. Christina Howell, representing Bloomfield Development Corporation, 4900 Friendship Avenue. I'm here today to speak in support of the outdoor dining permit expansion to make the permit a permanent thing that businesses, our small businesses, can rely on. If you've gone down Liberty Avenue at all in the last year, you've noticed several outdoor dining spaces that have taken over parking spots. We have found through the last year that our businesses have not been negatively impacted by the use of those parking spaces, and that the businesses that are using them have been able to expand safely their dining, and they are being used heavily by people who still would like to remain in the open air. They are really a vital source of income for these businesses, and they have done a lot to increase the vibrancy of our neighborhood in a place where people really want to be outside when the weather is nice in Pittsburgh, and even when it's not, we're finding people want to dine outside. My only concern with it is that my understanding is that there is some ADA accessibility issues that there may not always be, or some business owners are not always operating and placing their outdoor equipment in places where there is enough clearance for folks with disabilities to pass through safely. And I want to acknowledge those issues that I've become aware of recently. And I think that there can be a greater partnership on behalf of community groups and the city in order to help enforce those right-of-ways and help reduce the tripping hazards for those with disabilities. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Elisa Grisham. Grishman? Elisa? Wait, what is her name? Elisa. Is she online? No, she's not online. Okay. And our next speaker is Paul O'Hanlon. Paul O'Hanlon.
Good morning. My name is Paul O'Hanlon. I live in the East End on South Braddock Avenue, and I'm a member of the task force, City County Task Force on Disabilities. I want to speak in favor of the amendments to the sidewalk dining legislation. I think everyone's in favor of helping out our restaurants and shops in the pandemic and giving customers safer outdoor seating and amenities. But thanks to the heroic efforts of Sally Stadelman and Councilman Wilson's office, we've been able to add some accessibility improvements, which the disability community has been fighting for years. In 2 days, we made light years of progress, and I think Sally's heard enough from me to last a lifetime, if you know what I mean. But I really want to thank Council for being attentive and responsive. I can assure you that we availed every possible public comment, public process before we got to this point, but I think it's important to involve Council on issues of policy like this. And as most of you know about me, I'm not one to give false praise to public officials, but I think this is a good step. It will, I think, improve access for everyone. I do have one request. If you could give Sally some hazard pay and a trauma vacation and let us have her for maybe 4 days, maybe we can fix the building code and BRT parking issues that are festering issues for the disability community. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And I'll say Paul's not only a treasure to the city of Pittsburgh, his mother fed the city of Pittsburgh children for years in the lunch and the park programs. And Sally is a gem too. Our next speaker is Holly. I'm going to spell the last name Karabe TSOS. Holly. We have Holly. Is Holly on there? Holly's not on. Is Joy on? And Joy is not on. So that opens it up to our speakers in the audience. Can I have the first speaker, please? Miss Brown. Miss Brown? Somebody on there? No, nobody's on there. They're monitoring it, Miss Brown.
Okay, I thought they said something.
Thank you.
My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live in the Hill District. You know, I come down every week and I have been complaining about K.D. Irvis tires up there where I live. But I want to tell you how surprised I was when I opened my door and on my door was a package from the Valentine Ferry. I have a rose, it was candy, and there was candy in the bag and a card. Now, I know I come down and I complaining. I'm not complaining about the people that I live in the building with. I'm complaining about the management and how we are disrespected and not given safety because we don't have any guards anymore. I just saw a lady that was talking about over at Presley High Rise. That's where my mother used to live. They have guards. And I think she said she might have said, I thought she said Brighton, but I'm not sure. But what I'm saying is this, we do not have guards in the building. They say they have security, but that's not what we need. We need some physical people in there to protect us. I wanted to say something, and this is for you councilmen, and also the group of women, the directors that called in for the program, all the units called in. When you got finished, when Bruce Kraus got finished talking that 10, 15 minutes, as soon as the camera was off, he ran out that room. He stayed out there for about 20 something minutes. He come back in, Miss Gross sitting there. He goes and talks with her. All while you women took all that time talking, he's talking to Miss Gross. Then even O'Connor he was out there taking pictures, but he didn't come in and come to the table. He comes in, comes to the table and sits and talks to Miss Gross again. Let me tell you something. The people don't see it. You are calling in, but you need to come in and watch these rascals because they're not paying you any attention. And today, when I see the paper, it says February the 15th, regular meeting, mark February the 15th. Your rules say that it's supposed to be there 72 hours out there for the people to see. That's how I can't find out about what's happening here, because the same day, and then there's days that we leave and she put the announcement down about the meetings. Listen, you need to do better. And Paul O'Hanlon, you hear me talking about Paul O'Hanlon? I mean, you heard him. I used to work with him in legal services. So some of this I know I'm talking about. I know that by law, you ain't allowed to do it. And you have a lawyer sitting up there and he ain't saying nothing. We can't stop it, but he can. He can say, put in order. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ludwig?
President, it's a pleasure to be here with you folks.
It's a pleasure having you all.
And I'd like to do a brief review for you because it's coming up the 10th of next month, a meeting with the mayor in regards to a contract that I'm seeking to bring my experience to you, an experience that has produced over $1 million, and its concept. It's the concept that goes back to the days of Ravenstall. And Ravenstall recognized that the concept was valid. So he gave it to two people to write, two members of council, and they weren't able to. So it ended up where? On Bill Peduto's desk. And Bill Peduto wrote Management Budget Revenue Opportunities Act of 2003, and we know what the rest is about. It's called money that keeps coming in. But there's something missing. What do I believe is missing? What is missing is the extension of that program so that it will help to fill the gap, especially now after Fern Hollow collapsed into the ravine. We're going to need massive amounts of money, and I believe that I know where, with a new concept that has not yet been introduced, that we will end up producing tens of millions of dollars and solve the problems of this wonderful community. So I'm here as a kid of '89, glad to be alive, glad to be with you, and hope that I can be of further service to the great city of Pittsburgh. And I thank you for your attention. By the way, are we going to save some money on the rubbish front, the cost of going to the dump? I turn it back to you. It's in your capable hands, and I promised you I would keep asking.
Thank you, Mr. Ludwig. Have a good day. Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Any further speakers? Please come to the podium. And just state your name and address for the record.
Hi, good morning. This is
Morning.
Jacob Poole. Actually, I'm trying to figure out how this works so I
It's okay,
can
we all are.
like properly do this. But I'm trying to figure out how to engage the city of Pittsburgh in regards to human trafficking and things like that, as I'm a survivor of this. So I live in the Pittsburgh area. I've been here for a while. I'm a survivor of human trafficking, and I'm trying to raise awareness to this issue. I was brought here from Europe when I was a small kid, after I was taken from my German Jewish family because they had a family history of Nobel Prizes in science. They altered my records, brought me here. I have a PhD from Pitt. I work for the National Energy Lab, having patents and things. I don't know my real name or have any family or friends, or I'm here alone, struggling to survive now. So I'm trying to raise awareness with human trafficking, and this is my story in Pittsburgh. So trying to figure out how this works and how to engage the city law enforcement and councils and things to raise awareness to this kind of stuff that's happening, because I'm here. I literally was sold into slavery before I was born. So slavery is real, and it's African American month, and I'm not African American, but I'm part Jewish, and my family had Nobel Prizes in political ties, and I was sold when I was a kid. Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, could you please get his contact information so we can reach out? Thank you. We'll send somebody over to get your information, or our Sergeant Arms is coming over to get your information so we can reach out. Are there any further speakers? Thank you for sharing your story. Are there any further speakers? Are there any further speakers? Seeing no further speakers, we'll move on to our next order of business, which is the presentation of papers. And Councilman Burgess, Chair of Urban Recreation.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Councilman Reverend Burgess presents Bill number 103, resolution authorizing the Director of the Department of Parks and Recreation to enter on behalf of the city into agreements in individual amounts of $10,000 or less with various regional youth sports organization for a total amount not to exceed $160,000. Bill number 121, resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to establish a joint Pittsburgh Infrastructure Task Force to oversee the equitable distribution of infrastructure funds.
Madam President,
Councilman.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the rules of council so this can appear on tomorrow's standing committee meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Discussion.
Councilman Kraus?
Hi, I'm just curious. I'm just seeing this for the first time. Is this, I'm confused. Are we forming a wish to form a task force and a commission, or is this something that's working collectively and cooperatively?
It's something, it's separate, but it's connected. I was going to talk about tomorrow. Infrastructure is more than bridges and highways. And I will talk about it tomorrow. And although this commission may give recommendations, it has no power to generate funding or to create budgets. And similar to what we did with the park tax, similar to what we did with the ARP money, we need to have a vehicle to generate resources and to budget it and on behalf of council. And so I'm simply suggesting that we do a duplicate process the same way we oversaw the ARP money, that we go through a very similar process in terms of new infrastructure dollars. And I'm not, I want to, I'll have the conversation tomorrow. I'm not in a hurry to pass the legislation, but I do want to have the conversation and talk about the importance because again, equity has to be baked in. Equity means there has to be equitable. We passed all this legislation saying we're going to be an equitable city. That means that equity has to be in the people who make the decisions. It has to be equitable in the decisions that are made. And it has to be equitable in the way the funds are spent. And so that's my interest.
But I had a very simple question.
Sorry.
If I may. I might
Councilman.
be a little out of order.
All
I
right,
don't mean to
thank
be.
you, Councilman Kraus.
Thanks, Madam President. My question really was simple. This is something that's intended to work collectively and cooperatively with the commission
Yes.
legislation
Yes.
that's already in place.
Yes.
So why would we not just add the equitability to an existing piece of legislation?
Because the legislation itself does not have a vehicle to create new funding streams. What we need to do, in my opinion, is we need to find the money. We already know our infrastructure is bad. We have some money coming down the pike, but not enough. We're going to have to create new funding streams. And I think we need to have that conversation about the new funding streams and how we actually get the money to build our infrastructure. And we need to expand. I'm not speaking for Councilwoman Gross, but I'm certainly under her influence. We need to expand that conversation of infrastructure to talk about the other things that are not just bridges and highways, such as broadband, water, and the other things that I think are connected to infrastructure. But I'll have that conversation tomorrow.
Councilwoman Gross.
Well, I feel at a disadvantage. I don't see in my email, did you email the text file to us?
I probably did not.
It is a new paper.
Yeah.
I have concerns about the other commission that is already on the table that we held for 1 week that I was hoping to talk to members about before we get to Wednesday. And so I understand how you want the task force to be kind of on the same agenda. I just want to say on the record, I wasn't happy with the ARPA budgeting and I wasn't happy necessarily with the Parks Trust side. And I think that's that's unfinished business really and still in play about how we do these committees that come back with budgets to council and that maybe we already have too many. So I'm uncomfortable with both. So I just wanted, since we're having discussion, even though none of us have really read the paper, I'm getting notes sent to me by my staff who have somehow found the text file.
I'm sorry. That was.
So,
Do we have anything from any other members? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Those opposed?
Probably not, just for the sake of,
Sure.
I would prefer to
opposed?
kind of have a slower conversation. That's all. So
Okay.
just nothing personal.
Yeah, no. I think, yeah.
All in favor? Those opposed? Any abstentions? Madam Clerk? Do we? Yeah, please do a roll call.
I apologize.
Was this just a seat on tomorrow's agenda?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross.
aye.
Mr. Kraus.
No.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
No.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Carol Smith, President.
Aye,
Aye, 6, noes 3.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
The
allowing.
bill
me.
will appear on tomorrow's standing committee agenda. And I will say I'm supportive of us working together and coming up with the best solution. I think that there's some good attempts here to make sure we're addressing the infrastructure. And I think it warrants a further conversation. Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Works.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 104, resolution authorizing the mayor and director or the acting director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure on behalf of the city and through the city's Department of Law to adopt certain settlement terms and enter into a settlement agreement with Norfolk Southern Railway, Manchester Citizens Corporation, Northside Leadership Conference, and Rail Pollution Protection Pittsburgh in order to resolve claims arising from the application of the Norfolk Southern Railway Company for approval to reconstruct the crossing at the North Avenue Brighton Road Bridge docketed at the Pittsburgh Utility Commission and from the Northside Leadership Conference et al. Versus the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission appeals docketed at number 611 CD 2019 in the Commonwealth Court.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental Affairs. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 105, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for Gorefield Highlands 5375 through 5377 Rosetta Street, 5368 through 5370 Rosetta Street, 213 through 215 North Aiken Avenue, and 405 to 431 North Aiken Avenue in the 10th Ward. Bill number 106, resolution adopting the plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the Majan Building Lofts project, which will involve the renovation of an 8-story retail and warehouse manufacturing building into a residential condominium complex with 11 units and retail space on the ground floor. The site address is 915 Liberty Avenue in the 2nd Ward. Bill number 107, resolution approving execution of a contract for disposition by sale of land between the URA and New Granada Development LLC or a related entity for the sale of Block 10 North End, lots 255, 257, 258, and 258A in the 5th Ward, Council District number 6.
Thank you. And Councilman Kraus, Chair of Human Resources.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Madam Clerk.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 108, resolution providing for an agreement with the Fair Housing Partnership to provide fair housing testing, outreach, and policy collaboration intended to assist government agencies and housing providers with their duties to affirmatively further fair housing and understand general fair housing laws. This legislation authorizes the encumbrance of 3 years, 1 year with the options to renew for 2 additional years in an amount not to exceed $94,500.
Okay, I think. Thank you. And Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 109, resolution authorizing the issuing of a warrant in favor of Ronald James Madero in the relating to the full and final settlement of a case filed in the United States District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. Bill number 110, resolution further amending resolution number 647 entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2021 Capital Budget, the 2021 CDBG Program, the 2021 through 2026 Capital Improvement Program by increasing park reconstruction, regional access district parks by $136,996. I'm sorry, that's $136,996. Bill number 111, resolution amending resolution number 713, authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Finance to enter on behalf of the city into an amended agreement of sales with Smith and Bowen and all documents necessary to purchase 80 Wabash Street, along with 2 vacant parcels adjacent thereto for a total amount not to exceed $374,000, which includes the purchase price of $344,000 plus up to $30,000 in acquisition costs for the purpose of continued operation of the city's West End Healthy Active Living Center.
Thank you. And we have Councilman O'Connor, Chair of Public Safety Services.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman O'Connor presents Bill number 112, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Safety and the chief of police on behalf of the city to enter into a strategic relation agreement and amendments thereto with Policies Equity, Inc. to allow for the sharing of data which shall be at no cost to the city.
Thank you, thank you, Madam Clerk. And Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management. Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 113, resolution further amending resolution number 772, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2017 Capital Budget, the 2017 CDBG Program, approving the 2017 through 2022 Capital Improvement Program by reducing Washington Heights Ecumenical Food Bank by $5,000, increasing Southside Slopes Neighborhood Association by $5,000, and authorizing a subsequent agreement or agreements. Bill number 114, resolution further amending resolution number 797, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2018 Capital Budget, the 2018 CDBG Program, the 2018 through 2023 Capital Improvement Program by reducing Aleph Institute by $3,000, reducing Washington Heights Ecumenical Food Bank by $2,500, increasing the 31st Ward Community Action Group by $3,000, increasing EMS Community of Pittsburgh by $2,500, and authorizing a subsequent agreement. Bill number 115, resolution further amending resolution number 863, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2019 Capital Budget and the 2019 CDBG Program and the 2019 through 2024 Capital Improvement Program by amending various public service grant line items and authorizing a subsequent agreement. Bill number 116, resolution further amending resolution number 840, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2020 Capital Budget, the 2020 CDBG Program, and the 2020 through 2025 Capital Improvement Program so as to identify specific projects in City Council District 3 and authorizing a subsequent agreement. Bill number 117, resolution further amending resolution number 647 as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2021 Capital Budget, the 2021 CDBG Program, and the 2021 through 2026 Capital Improvement Program so as to identify specific projects in Council District 3 and authorize a subsequent agreement.
Thank you. And I'm waiting for our solicitor to get some information from our parliamentarian on the next two bills, informing appointments. The ones for informing us for the URA, I just wasn't sure if we should introduce them. Since this is the only time we'll be able to have any action, is to introducing them. We'll have an interview, so we could hold for interviews. But this is the only time it's going to come. So if something doesn't go well with the interview, we have no other recourse other than, pardon me? Yeah, I just want to make sure with our parliamentarian who's watching that we're doing everything right. Because it is just informing us, but this is the only time it will come before, after interview. My concern is I won't want the interviews to be canceled or postponed because we've been having a little bit of difficulty scheduling some interviews. I was explaining. And not with them. I think we have a date. I just want to make sure it stays. I think we're all going to approve them anyway, so it's just a formality. Yeah, no, I know. They both are. That's right. I apologize to the public. Yeah, I want to make sure we're okay to do that. Do we have to hold for, do we have to make a motion to interview? Because we have an interview scheduled. We want interviews before well, I didn't know if that was appropriate. That's what he's trying to find out for me. I want to make sure that that's right. But that's what we were going to do, but if I do that, that's the only time I can come here. I'm waiting, he's checking, the solicitor's checking with the parliamentarian. No, I'll just wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Please just give me a minute. Yes, and our solicitor's talking to the parliamentarian. Trying to get your attention, Councilman Cross, but no, I don't want to have a sidebar because somebody will say we had a sidebar. Heaven forbid.
Madam President,
Yes,
while we're waiting, can I just share one idea? If you
Yeah.
don't mind?
yes.
Not directly related to this, but related to this. Our authorities are separate, independent agencies that although we have influence over them, that relationship, this has nothing to do with this, but our relationship as a city should be collegial. And because one of the reasons we have these authorities is so that they can function independently and have separation from us from liability and all those other things. And so we want to certainly have influence over its board of directors. I think that as a rule, it's important that they have a level of autonomy, which again, that's not directly related to what we're doing today. But just in general, that's sort of my philosophy, has always been on the agencies, that we put, really good people on the board of directors and get them to hire a really good executive director, but they should have some level, although all report to, to the mayor in theory. But there needs to be a level of a distance between the city and the everyday functioning of the authorities. That's all.
Thank you. I just want to say that I think everyone knows in particular, this is a concern to me, this particular board. I didn't realize it was going to be this longer. I wouldn't have done this.
Can I just say I like the two vase that are there,
The
that are
vase.
up there.
And it is Black
Yeah.
History Month.
Yeah, does anyone have where were they in the case outside or? Oh, they're nice. Oh, they match perfectly. Yeah.
I don't know this, I thought, did you order them? Okay, I was going to say that Councilman Cross had something to do with its selection, but no. I thought this was your taste. I thought, when that's the giftedness of having gifted council members, right? They can do what we cannot do. And so, yeah, I thought so. Because I thought both the changing of the Christmas directions and this one, and maybe a third one, that President Cross had something to do with its selection.
Okay.
If they're gonna
So
amend
this
it, it
is
can't
just.
be.
He has good taste. Every now and then he tells, every now and then he tells me I wear a nice tie, so.
Right. So that's why I want. Okay, so we have I guess we can do pretty much do anything with the appointments, but we have some other clarifications we have to go through that our solicitor pointed out in final action for the amendment, and he'll come talk to Councilman Wilson about that. So I'll give this to Madam Clerk, the Chair of Hearings. For myself, as Chair of Hearings, we have 2 informing appointments, and I am going to discuss a little bit. Thank you.
Council President Cal Smith presents Bill number 118, resolution informing City Council of the appointment of Kyle Chinatapali to serve as a member of the URA for a term to expire December 2nd, 2022. Bill number 119, resolution informing City Council of the appointment of State Representative Sarah Inamorata to serve as a member of the URA for a term to expire December 2nd, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Motion to read, receive, and file, please.
Can we also have a motion for interview, to hold for interview?
I apologize. I believe I'm okay to offer a dual motion. Correct me if I'm wrong. We'd like to schedule for interview, just for the edification of the public at large. Councilwoman Gross and I were discussing. It's important that people understand and know firsthand who their leaders are. And number 2, our obligation here is to read, receive, and file.
Yeah, so we have a motion to hold, to interview and to read, receive, and file. Do we have a second? Any discussion? And so I'm just going to say thank you because it is important to me. I've been pointing out repeatedly that this particular board has absolutely no representation from southwest of the river. It's where the development happens. We wonder why the development's not occurring in our areas. And you look at this board comprised of almost everyone from the East End. And not to say that they haven't tried to do some of their things that they can. I know CM Williamson took a tour with me to our district. I think it was the first time anybody on the board actually came out and saw what was going on our side of town. But I will say that I'm looking forward. I think Kyle knows a little bit about our area, so I'm a little bit more comfortable. And I think that others on the board may know a little, but I want somebody who's going to advocate for us on that board. And I know that they only want 1 member of council. I don't know that I agree that should be the case with any of the boards. I think that sometimes we need to make sure we're geographically correct too with these boards. I mean, diversity and inclusion includes southwest of the river. We are part of the city of Pittsburgh, although there's more and more talk of us annexing outside of the city. So I don't know. I think that that's something some of our residents wouldn't mind. But I will say that we need to make sure that moving forward. So I'll make sure that during those interviews, we discuss this and what their plans are to advocate for the area. And I'm sure that they'll have some great answers, but I just, the next time an appointment comes, I am going to say for any of the boards that, and it does not have representation from our side of town, I'm not going to accept them, and we'll go from there. I mean, I won't introduce their informing appointments. So I'm going to say it's under my committee. We will now move to any unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business before? Oh, no, wait, we didn't vote. We need to vote. Do we vote all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And now we have any unfinished business. We have a motion to approve resolution appointing Krisha Kubiak, city solicitor. Her interview was held on February 1st on 2022. And we have another one appointing Lee Schmidt, Director of Public Safety. Madam Clerk.
Bill number 23, resolution appointing Krisha Kubiak as city solicitor. Bill number 91, resolution appointing Lee Schmidt as Director of the Department of Public Safety.
Okay. We have
Motion to approve. Very brief discussion, please.
Councilman Kraus. Oh, do we have a second?
Second. Thanks, Madam President. So of all the appointments that we will consider under a new administration, I believe these are the two most important. Who will be the city solicitor and who will be the director of public safety. And so I don't take my vote lightly today. I will be voting in the affirmative on both appointments, but want to stress the importance of these two positions, that our law department always remains independent of really even council and the mayor's office, that we are held to a standard that the law is to be interpreted as the law. I wish Ms. Kubiak all the best. Councilwoman Gross and I were having a little bit of a sidebar. I don't know that anybody ever really comes into these positions fully prepared. You never know what your day you may bring. You know, you wake up one day and you realize a bridge has collapsed, and all of a sudden your whole world changes. And that event affected both our city solicitor and our public safety director. And that's just one day in what will be a 4-year term. I'm assuming that they'll be serving in that capacity. So I want to wish them all the very best. They're very, very challenging, and at times extremely difficult positions to hold within the city of Pittsburgh. I believe the mayor has the right to choose his nominees that he or she wishes to see in that position. I will go in the direction of Mayor Gainey's wish to see these appointments, and I wish them Godspeed in two incredibly important positions that they will be holding for the foreseeable future.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members? And I'll just say, I think they really learned, I mean, trial by fire, they were here, less than a month, and the two of them, at bridge collapse and our council issues and other things that they've just been, I mean, I just want to be honest, I think Solicitor Kubiak has been amazing in trying to help us in so many different ways. And I'm looking forward to working with her and the public safety director. And I'm not going to say I'm not without concern. I think I always am whenever we approve any appointments. But I do also believe that the mayor is entitled to have his team around him, which is also one of the reasons why I try to be supportive of his boards and authorities as well. And I want to work with him to do some of the things that he wants to have done in those areas. But I'm not going to say that I'm not without concern. I do have concerns, but I think we all have concerns, even when we took our positions and knowing that, wondering what job we'd do on our own. So I just want to say that I wish them all the best. And I think that I'm looking forward really to working with them both. I think they have a lot to tackle. We have officers with the taser incident. We have the bridge incident. We have council's issues. We have the mayor's issues. I mean, everybody has something that they're dealing with, and it's a lot for small departments. But I will say that we're going to pay attention to how we're dealt with and how people work with us as we move forward for other appointments or even keeping departments in place intact. I think that's something people forget, that council has the authority to restructure government, including these positions and some things. So I just want to make sure that people understand we're willing to work, and we want to work with the administration. We want to work with their team. And I do think that he has some really good support. And one of the things I can say about Director Schmidt is one of the things everyone who said anything to me in his favor said that they appreciate that he respects the personnel and that he treats them with respect. And for Krisha Kubiak, I mean, everyone, nobody had, I mean, everybody just had so many positive things to say about her, but I was assured that they would hire somebody or bring somebody in who knows municipal law. And just like in our offices, we try to fill in gaps wherever we can. And I expect them to do the same. So,
Madam President, may I add one more thing?
Yes.
Thank you. I remember very early in my tenure, Councilman Doug Shields was here then, and Councilman Shields was a bit of a handful, but he gave me one piece of advice that has always stuck with me. I've never forgotten it. He said, you will find that your days are like channel surfing, that you'll get 2 or 3 seconds, maybe if you're lucky, up to 30 seconds to deal with an issue, and the next issue is going to be coming your way. And your ability to be flexible and fluid and agile and being able to accept that as it comes will be contingent to your success in office. And so I see these positions as being very much the same. They're, every couple seconds, it'll be a new issue coming their way. So I wish them nothing but the best and Godspeed in the work they have to do.
Same here.
We have to vote.
Okay, all in, does roll call? All in favor? It should be. Huh? All in favor? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Both appointments are approved. Congratulations to them both. Is there any further unfinished business before City Council? Seeing none. Our next order of business is reports of committee for final action. Councilman Corey O'Connor, Committee on Public Safety Services.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman O'Connor presents Bill number 101, report of the Committee on Public Safety Services for February 9, 2022, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 62, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Trek Bicycle in an amount not to exceed $112,699.76 for electric bicycles provided for the Bureau of Police Bicycle Unit.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Councilman Kraus.
Yeah, thanks, Madam President. Quickly, I wanted to thank Charles down in the Public Safety Department. He, within a matter of minutes of my asking how many bikes we were getting and at what cost, he had information sent up to us. I just love to see the department going in this direction. I'm a very big fan of officers on bikes. It sort of makes that connectivity between being on foot and in a car at the same time and able to react in a moment's notice to any situation. And I love the fact that we're investing in pedal assist bikes for the officers. I believe they were right around 4,000 a piece, and I think we were purchasing around 30 of them. So I think this is a wonderful move, and I'm happy to support this.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Do you have an amendment?
It's on our Councilman Coggle's committee.
Okay, thank you. I thought it was on this, it was on the same one.
I knew that. I knew that.
All right. Is there any further comments? Okay, you've heard the reading and the title of the bills. Is there, well, we already had the discussion. I'm sorry. The bills are not ready for final action. All in favor of the passage, will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And Councilman Anthony Coghill, Committee on Public Works.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 102, report of the Committee on Public Works for February 9, 2022, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 57, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to execute relevant agreements to receive grant funding from the Recycling Partnership, Inc. to conduct public outreach surrounding the city's recycling program and to purchase containers for curbside residential recycling collection, and further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $650,000. Bill number 58, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement or the use of existing agreements between the city and Sufasara Butra Coleman for the creation and installation of public art at Chartiers Spray Park at a cost not to exceed $11,000. Bill number 73, ordinance amending the Pittsburgh Code Title IV, Public Places and Properties, Chapter 416, obstructions by deleting sections 416, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, and 27, adding new Chapter 425 entitled Outdoor Dining or Retail Activities in the Public's Right of Way.
You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Councilman Wilson,
I have an amendment to Bill 73.
we have a motion.
I'd like to make a
Do we have a
motion to
second?
amend and.
Second brief discussion, please.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Madam President. So I just want to start off by thanking, Domi and my staff and everyone who has worked on this, PLI as well. This amendment here is something that we've been working on of advocates in the ADA community. And it really clarifies and strengthens what currently, some of it currently exists. And so I'll just walk us through this so that we're clear on what we're doing here. So I added a whereas the city of Pittsburgh also recognizes the importance of accessible public spaces for all, especially in the right of way, and is committed to continuing to enforce accessibility codes and standards, and intends to continue to work with the accessibility community to maintain and improve those standards. Another change was just in striking item 6 in section, let me see, 425.03 F, and then section 6 of F, the copy of a valid certificate of occupancy for business seeking outdoor dining. This was struck because the OC is received at the end of the reviewing process and not the beginning. So that's a technical change. The other change is there's another technical change. I want to get to something more that is minor as well, but just want to be transparent about it, which is item number 7 under. This is also 425.03 H, placement, design, or requirements for use of sidewalk. Item number 7 is when considering the placement of outdoor retail or dining on the sidewalk, the department's preference will be for designs that exceed minimum clear sidewalk requirements to maintain a straight, contiguous, clear pedestrian path wherever there are the least number of structural interferences. In most cases, this will be the side of the building side of the sidewalk. The most intuitive route for the blind and visually impaired pedestrians and pedestrians who use mobility devices should be chosen. So I just want to be clear about these changes, and I want to thank everyone that has worked on these.
Thank you, Councilman.
any
Is there any
discussion?
further discussion? Councilman Kraus?
Thanks, Madam.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Strasburger. I'm sorry. I didn't see your hand up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilman. Yeah, and then we'll.
Thank you.
Councilman.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So first of all, I want to recognize the work of Councilman Wilson. This is a very challenging topic, and I appreciate his willingness to meet with me numerous times to discuss different pieces of the legislation. In terms of accessibility, I'd sort of like to broaden the topic of that conversation to be everyone who has the right and desire to navigate our sidewalks, right? If you talk to people in the city of Pittsburgh and ask them one of the main reasons why they live in the city, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, someone's going to tell you because I can walk anywhere, right? We love walkable neighborhoods. We love sidewalk clearance and being able to navigate our main streets and all those kinds of things. The importance of understanding, recognizing, and affirming that it is called the public right of way. The public has the right to navigate the public space in free, clear, and unencumbered ways. That's everyone. So I believe this legislation at this point in time accomplishes that. I want to recognize Councilman Wilson's willingness to meet and adjust, and we had some sidebars this morning. We met with Director Kinter. I believe there's flexibility and fluidity in all the city departments, that if we've made some changes here that aren't exactly what we thought they might be, that we'd be able to tweak them and make some changes. I shared at Wednesday's meeting, I wrote the original legislation 15 years ago. It is not 15 years ago. It's a new day and a new time, and understanding the needs of food and beverage business to rebound in the midst of a global pandemic is front and center, and we get that, and I'll do everything in my power to support to make certain that that happens. I just appreciate that there has been consideration made and a willingness to adjust if we find that somehow we may have inhibited the public's right of way to navigate sidewalks safely and legally. So with that, I'm happy to support the amendment, and I'm happy to support the bill.
Thank you,
for your
Councilman.
work.
Councilwoman Strasburger.
Thank you, Madam President. I really want to commend Councilman Wilson for all of his work on this and his staff, Sally Stadelman. It sounds like she's been working long hours, incorporating these amendments and working closely with the ADA community. Or I should say accessibility rights advocacy community. And I guess my one question is, these amendments seem as if they are meant to help direct permits going forward. And we've seen, I think all of council has received emails with concerns about current structures that have already been permitted for sidewalks that don't necessarily follow these. And I wondered if we could have an interrogative conversation. Is there some mechanism to be able to go back and assess
Councilman Wilson, are you
current
willing-
sidewalk structure or sidewalk cafes that might be in violation of this new amendment?
Are you comfortable, Councilman Wilson, answering?
You tell
Or
me
you
the
can
current.
have your staff come out too if you'd want.
That's fine.
Thank
The current 58 licenses that are, or licensed and permitted areas that are currently existing, is that the question?
Yeah.
My understanding is that their current situation will be honored, within, the drawings and designs that they've, that DOMI has already signed off on. Those will be valid until, other than showing proof if, insurance has been outdated, other than showing proof of insurance throughout this year, those would continue to operate the way they currently are until the end of the year. So, but, at any time, if there is a situation that, if they're violating what they currently are authorized to do, that could be called into question. And, also if there is something that is pretty glaring, that's also something that then we can continue to, review and enforce, and we can change.
So it sounds like at the very least, at the end of the year, there'll be a reassessment of these and they'll have to apply again, and perhaps these will be revisited. Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding. But the new, anyone new that would come into this would immediately be under this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members? We have to vote on the amendment. I'm sorry.
I just want to say one last thing, but I know we're
Yes,
voting on the
Councilman.
amendment. I just want to say, if no one has any comments more about this amendment, I just want to thank everyone for helping me get to this point. Just because this, what I've been trying to also tout is that this legislation is important, so that just like we're talking about, new businesses have the opportunity to access grants at the URA to improve outdoor furniture and barriers and other items as well that would help the outdoor dining and retail experience.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members? I just want to thank you, Councilman Wilson, for working on this, and your amazing staff who also spend time with our staff explaining stuff. But I want to thank you for really working well with the disability community, which means a lot to, I think, all of us. So I just want to thank you for, and just all of this, working with the business community, and everything you did this is the way you work, and it's really, it's a great way to work with you. So thank you for your work. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. And then for the bills. Madam Clerk? The bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bills, vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle. Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And that moves us on to our motions and resolutions. I have a couple meeting announcements. I need a call for an executive session on litigation to be held during pre-agenda tomorrow. Councilwoman Gross. In a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And this afternoon with sessions beginning at 1:30 and at 2:30, council will hold a briefing to discuss the new PWSA rate increase, stormwater fee, and enhancements to customer assistance programs. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., council will hold our standings committees meeting. To register to speak, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage by 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. You may also call the city clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Also, tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m., council will hold a cablecast post-agenda discussion on police traffic stops, which it will be hosted by Councilman Coghill. Is there anything from members? Councilwoman Gross.
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge and thank the Department of Public Safety and also the Department of Public Works, both Commander Lackner, Acting Commander Flesky, and Director Hornstein for responding to yet another round of graffiti under the Bloomfield Bridge that's horribly offensive. And thank you to the citizens who called our office to alert us. And it's a bit too cold today to do the actual removal of the graffiti, just so you know. And so tomorrow it should be warmer and the crews are promised to be out there too. And I just want to acknowledge everyone's kind of quick movement on this. We'll also be adding it to the log that I keep in my office of hate speech that I regularly report to the FBI because there are so many clusters of these incidences that we're communicating very closely with the FBI to geographically locate them. And so we'll be updating that record.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Do you have a number or anything you want to share?
Well, we record them in my office, so it's
Okay, so then call that.
412-255-2140. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Coghill.
Yes.
And then
I
Councilman
just,
Burgess. I apologize. No, Councilman Coghill
yeah.
first.
No, I just wanted to say for the post agenda tomorrow, I want to thank Councilwoman Strasburger. She got me in contact with Isaiah Thomas. He's a Philadelphia councilman, and he's the original author of the bill that Mr. Burgess turned in and we really adopted. So he was going to do Zoom originally, but in many conversations that we've had, I said, why don't you come here? And so he's driving over tomorrow to kind of give his, entire story as to how it started, where it's at now. And they're actually going to be implementing it within a couple of weeks. So I hope members can join us and, promises to be informational and, hopefully we can get some insight from him.
Thank you, Councilman. I know you've been working really hard, and I'm glad you're working with, your colleagues too, but I know you've been working really hard yourself on this. So thank you for your work on this as well. Councilman Burgess.
I want just to have members look at a CNN feed, a new study published Thursday by a leading nonprofit organization that focuses on gun violence prevention, found there is a direct correlation in states with weaker gun laws and higher rates of gun deaths, including homicides, suicides, and accidental killings. The study by Every Town for Gun Safety determined that California had the strongest gun laws in the country. Hawaii topped the list with the lowest rate of gun deaths in the country, while Mississippi led the country with both the weakest gun laws and the highest rate of gun deaths. And so what this study begins to tell us, what we already know, guns kill people. The more guns you have, the more deaths you will have, period. Our state legislatures, Republican-led majorities, refusal to pass common sense, restrictive gun laws is absolutely killing people. When Mr. Connor and Ms. Strasburger and the mayor and myself and others led the charge to try to reduce handguns and illegal guns on the street, and of course we were rebuffed. Our lost and stolen handgun legislation passed when I first came to council has never been implemented, because we know the day we implement it, we enforce it, it will be struck down by court. It is simple. Guns kill people. The more guns you have, the more people will die. Half of the deaths will be by suicide, which we never talk about. A gun in the house means the woman of the house is more likely to be shot by her own gun. through domestic abuse. It is awful. And the Republican legislature of Pennsylvania, who continues this insane protection of the NRA and the gun manufacturers, are directly contributing to the death of Pennsylvanians. That's the truth of this. We are allowing a minority of this country to allow the majority of us to live in terror, fear, and death. It is unfortunate and it's sad, but that's the reality. Pennsylvania and its Republican-led state legislature will not pass any real, meaningful gun reform legislation. It's directly leading to the death of Pennsylvanians from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. And from time to time, I have to speak out and condemn them for it.
Any other members? I'll just I usually stay out of the gun conversation, but I do want to say that there's also an increase of soldier suicide by guns. So when talking about
guns kill people.
Yeah, we're talking about the very, suicide. Please let's not forget that the people that served our country are also suffering. Anything else for members? That said, can I have a motion to excuse any absent members, adjourn the meeting? I'm sorry, approve the minutes and adjourn the meeting.
Move.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.